up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Buckeyes in Maryland. As always, your host, Mack, along with co-host, Chris. Man, what a day for college sports. The Big Ten is back. Ohio State is back. I'm very excited about that, but my boy Chris, he could care less.
I really don't care.
I won't say, some of the explicit words he's used to describe Ohio State even today. But just know that I am very excited about the Buckeyes. And they had a very good game today. I don't think anybody expected the Cornhuskers to really bring it early on, but they did. They scored the first touchdown of the game on a pretty good run. And the dual options that they use in Adrian Martinez and Luke McCaffrey were, it kind of looked like they were confounding Ohio State defense early, but they soon figured it out. One player in particular, obviously, who played very well was Justin Fields. And for any of you who listened to the last episode that we had, Derek Worley of Triple Option Media was very high on Justin Fields. I am too. I think, honestly, he is the best quarterback in the nation. I do. If I was a GM right now, I would take Fields over Lawrence. And that's not to say that that's a knock on Trevor Lawrence. I just think Trevor Lawrence is overrated. You look at what Justin Fields can do in regards to down the field passing and in accuracy. I just think it's unparalleled. It's unmatched in college football. Trevor Lawrence has definitely had very good and productive college career, but his weapons have done a lot of the work for him. Justin Fields is hitting people in stride with some of his throws. For instance, that first touchdown that he threw today to Chris Olave was beautiful. He finished 20 of 21, only missed one pass, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. Doesn't seem like a big stat line, but 20 of 21, I'll take that any day of the week. I don't know about you, Chris, but I mean, if Carson Wentz threw that for the Eagles, I would have no problems with him, no matter the supporting cast.
Listen, Justin Fields, he did have a good game. I do agree with you, and he is a top 3 college quarterback. But the only thing I can't get over is he plays for Ohio State, and once you leave college, you show me one Buckeye former quarterback that's really good in the NFL.
You got me there. I see. We've talked about this before, but you got me there. I can't name one recent Ohio State or really any Ohio State quarterback who's had success as of late. I mean, you look at the last couple of quarterbacks to make it into the league. J.T. Barrett, the fourth. Cardell Jones. They won a national championship at Ohio State, but they flamed out very quickly in the NFL. JT most recently with, I think, the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad and New Orleans Saints as well. And Cardell Jones, most recently, I believe he was in the XFL for the DC Defenders. And before that, he was with the Los Angeles Chargers. So, yeah, I mean, those two, they didn't amount to really anything in the NFL. They're still young. There's time for them, but I'm not really don't really have high hopes. And let me not forget Dwayne Haskins, who's still currently on NFL roster with the Washington football team, who has not really had success just yet. In fact, he got benched for Kyle Allen. I still see a high potential for him, to be honest. I think that if he's put on the right team, he's allowed to develop. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Washington ends up putting him back on the field, because to me, he offers the most upside of the 3 quarterbacks in Washington, and Alex Smith, Kyle Allen, and himself. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him back on the field eventually. I think he controls that, though. You had Terrell Pryor, who I honestly think Terrell Pryor could have been a decent quarterback, but nobody really gave him a chance outside of Oakland. And he really didn't get long enough to do that. But that's just me. Terrell Pryor as a receiver was pretty decent in his one year in Cleveland, but after that just fell off a cliff. So those are the four most recent quarterbacks to come out at Ohio State of noteworthy attention, and obviously Braxton Miller. And I mean, that's another guy after he suffered his shoulder injury in college and converted to that wide receiver position. He never took a snap at quarterback in the NFL. And I'm not really sure what Braxton is right now. I don't think he's on a roster.
No, I don't think he is either.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's 5 Ohio State quarterbacks and not a good track record. So he's got me there. But Justin Fields could, depending upon what team he goes to, and that's very important, could amount to something. I mean, nobody wants to go to the Jets. So, I mean, I think everybody's hoping that the Jets don't get the number 1 pick and take Trevor Lawrence, because although I love Justin Fields and a lot of other people feel the same way, Trevor Lawrence is probably going to be the number 1 overall pick. And if that happens to be the Jets, I'm of the mindset that Trevor Lawrence should stay in college for another year.
Oh, yeah, because if he try to leave the NFL and try to go to the Jets, that's another Buckeye on that list. I'll tell you now.
Trevor Lawrence? Yeah, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. But if the Jets get that number 1 pick, bro, they're taking Trevor Lawrence. And that will just completely derail that kid's career. So I'm really hoping the Jets don't get that number 1 pick, but it's very likely because I think they're aiming towards it. And that's the whole reason why they're still holding on to Adam Gase, because they know they're going to lose. But yeah, that's Justin Fields. I really am pulling for him. He finished, I believe, 42 touchdowns or 41 touchdowns and 3 interceptions last season. Excellent. This year, on an 8-game conference schedule, we'll have to see, what the college football playoff landscape looks like come towards the end of the season. But I'm really pulling for him. I think he's battling with, obviously Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance as the top 3 quarterbacks taken off the board in this next upcoming draft. That's Justin Fields. On to the NFL, where we have pretty big news, and I think it was kind of predictable on the first one. Antonio Brown signing with the Tampa Bay Bucks. That's all Tom Brady, bro. What you got to say about that?
No, it's not. I mean, yeah, you got Tom Brady. It's just the Bucs on the offense have a squad. They got a running game, a pretty good tight end, and they got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. And then just to throw Antonio Brown in the slot or deep position, Tom Brady can throw for like another 20 or 30 touchdowns this year.
What I'm saying is the whole reason why he's there is Tom Brady. I think if Tom Brady wasn't there, I don't think he signs with Tampa.
Well, yeah, you're right.
But yeah, man, you're right. I mean, they have an assortment of weapons. Like Evans, Godwin, Scotty Miller's even looking pretty good. Gronkowski, had a touchdown recently. Fournette, whenever he gets back, they have guys. And Ronald Jones has been running the ball very well. I don't know does anybody have Ronald Jones in our fantasy league? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I forgot who though. But I did see somebody's name. The person have it. I think I played him like 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
and they destroyed me.
Yeah, I didn't fare so well last week myself. I lost. But yeah, man, Antonio Brown. It really just depends at this point in his career. This is all on him. Which Antonio Brown is going to show up? Is it going to be the productive early Steelers version, or is it going to be more of the same with him? He forced his way out of Oakland. He was, had a whole bunch of self-damage and self-harm when he was with New England. Although he did have a very, very good game against Miami, if you remember that.
Yeah. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had 4 catches, something like 54 yards and a touchdown in a blowout, something like that. But
his only touch?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just say that's his only touchdown last year.
Yeah.
I can't believe he just like did all those legal actions and then got kicked out of the NFL, or nobody wanted him.
Yeah, I mean, and it's sad because it's another case of a guy with immense talent who just can't get out of his own way. And you see that from time to time. I mean, you see that even with Josh Gordon recently. And, the Seahawks think they've picked him up. I don't know. But the point is that a lot of times with these big-time athletes who are so talented, they just can't get out of their own way. And Antonio Brown is no different in that regard. He definitely holds all the cards to his future. He's not a young guy anymore, 32 years old. But if you had to make some type of prediction, I know we're like mid-season here by the time he gets back. I think it's week 9 or week 8, whenever his suspension is over. If you had to make a prediction on how many touchdowns he'll get by the end of the season, what would you say?
Oh, that's tough. You know what I mean? That's tough. That's tough to even give you a number. But, with Mike Evans, Gronk, Chris Godwin, Miller, you throw Antonio, I say, I give him the benefit of the doubt. If he's actually playing ball, I give him 10.
Oh, man, that's a big number. Okay, let's see. Week 9 is when he's projected to come back. So that's what, like 8, 7?
Yeah, because
so that's 7-8 games that he'll be available if he is activated. Who knows? I don't know what kind of shape he's in, but I'm not going to go quite that high because what I'm wondering is who does he replace on the field? He's not taking Evans off the field. He's not taking Godwin off the field. Is he going to take Scotty Miller off the field? I think that's the most likely scenario. Is he going to be featured in certain packages? I mean, we don't know. The last time we saw him, he looked good, but it's been over a year, some change. So who knows? I'm going to go 4 touchdowns.
I don't know about that. I think he's going to replace Scotty Miller and take that slot position. Let Mike and Chris, run the outside and him wrap the middle. It's going to be like a better version of Julius Edelman right there.
You could be right. I mean, Brown is definitely hell of a lot more talented than Julian Edelman is in terms of pure talent. But it just really depends upon how much he's got left in the tank and what his mentality is. Because, I mean, even Bruce Arians, Tampa Bay's head coach, he's been very critical of Brown in the past. With his knowledge of Brown working back in his Pittsburgh days as a coordinator. So, I mean, we'll just have to see. There's just so many pieces that need to fall into place for him to be successful there. And I think it all starts, obviously, with himself being in a right mental space. But, I'm hoping for him. I'd love to see guys do well. I love a good redemption story. I don't know if his legal issues have been settled yet, but in terms of pure football, he is exciting to watch. Another possible big pickup in the NFL could be the return of Dez Bryant. He is rumored to be signing with the Baltimore Ravens practice squad. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Listen, Baltimore is stacked too. Okay, I don't care what nobody says to me. Baltimore has a good offense, with Lamar and everything. But I'm proud that Baltimore gave him a shot. Come on, man, that's Dez Bryant. He was great. I don't care. Great with the Dallas Cowboys. I know he had his injury. With the Saints, he didn't even get to play. He hurt himself in practice. But I've seen videos of this man run routes. This dude even looks bigger than he was in the NFL.
Bigger as in like fat or like more muscle?
Like muscle, okay. Like more muscle, like big. And he's like all cut up. I mean, I saw him race against Marquise Goodwin, and he almost beat him.
That's a fast dude right there, Hollywood. Yeah. No, Marquise Goodwin. Okay, wrong person.
Did I say the
No,
wrong person?
I think I was thinking of Marquise Goodwin. Are you talking about Marquise Brown? Hollywood Brown?
Nah, Goodwin.
Who plays for Philly?
Well, yeah, you can cut all this part off we're talking, but
nah, we'll keep it in.
Yeah, Goodwin.
I got you. But yeah, dude, I haven't really paid too much attention to to the current landscape in regards to him. But I'm really pulling for him. I mean, the last we saw him, he had that pretty horrific injury with the Saints. So I think we're all really pulling for Dez to, make a return. He's not a young guy himself, but I think he could be that an X receiver, one of those possession guys in the mold of old. He definitely could provide a spark to a Baltimore passing game that has been lacking this season. So, I mean, yeah, I hear you. They have a pretty good offense. And Mark Andrews is an all-pro tight end. But outside of Hollywood Brown, they just don't have, anybody who's really threatening. Yeah, unless you're looking at, like, Willie Snead. But, he's an average at best receiver to me. But their best option in the passing game is Mark Andrews. And they have a pretty good second tight end as well. But Baltimore's just predicated on the run game. When you have a three-headed monster in the backfield of Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, and Gus Edwards, you don't have to, you're not going to be throwing 4,000 yards a season. But you can definitely add, a little bit of, power to the punch with the addition of Dez Bryant. I mean, we're not really sure what this is going to amount to because they're only planning on signing him to the practice squad. I think it's another situation that depends upon how hard he works. But if you're correct, man, if he's really in shape, if he's really about it and making a return to the football field, it would be nice to see him. I mean, God knows I hate the Cowboys, but he was definitely he was fun to watch. He definitely had some pretty good games against Philly, but the football world is definitely a better world with Dez Bryant and Antonio Brown. So, I mean, I'm really hoping that the both of those guys can, make it back to the field. I'm going to do the same thing, man. If he does, in fact, make it back to the actual roster, give me a prediction.
Like you just hit it. The passing game ain't really all that in Baltimore. They're just gonna run the ball with their three running backs, or even Lamar on some options, or just Lamar just takes it. I'll say about 5 touchdowns, and it's like in the end zone. Let Lamar. Throw it up top and then, give Dez a chance to catch it.
That was his bread and butter in Dallas too. I mean, when his speed started to go, he turned into that big target, almost like a tight end, in the red zone. So that's a fair prediction. I think I'll go a hair below that. I'll give him 4 as well. I don't think he's coming in at a pretty, bad point in the season, mid-season. He'll be able to help if he is activated to the roster. I just don't know how productive he'll be, this season. So big 2 possible additions in AB and Dez Bryant. So we'll have to monitor that situation, see how it turns out. On to other news, man. This COVID thing is really, really getting deep in the NFL. Big news coming out of Buffalo. Man, all 4 of their tight ends on the COVID list. Dawson Knox, Lee Smith, Tommy Sweeney, and Nate Becker. I can't tell you that I really follow those players. I don't really know how productive they've been this season, but I can tell you that losing 4 tight ends in the span of one week is a killer. I mean, are you bringing up a practice squad player? Are you going into a game without tight ends? This is just unprecedented, man. But how would you feel if that happened to the Patriots?
Listen, What are you talking about? I'm struggling myself. I still got people on the COVID list. I got people coming back from injuries. I'm glad the Bills got 4 tight ends on COVID. Nobody cares about the Bills, all right? Nobody cares about the Bills.
People care about Josh Allen.
Well, nobody cares about Josh Allen, right? He's a Bill. He's in my division. He should have got COVID for all I care. So, listen, that's rough having 4 tight ends. So we're just gonna have to wait until tomorrow to see what was their game plan and how they're gonna run that offense, or if they're even gonna play.
That's definitely a possibility. I haven't seen anything that said that they're moving tomorrow's game and that they're going to cancel it, but it's definitely on the table. We're monitoring that very closely because that could potentially be another flex. We've seen that a few times this season already, and the Bills have already been a part of that. They played in a Tuesday night game, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we could see that again. And I mean, I feel for anybody who is dealing with COVID at this point. This is bigger than football. So, God be with them. Hopefully they make a speedy recovery. And I don't know if all of them have tested positive. I think it may be just one and the others were exposed. But nonetheless, NFL protocols call for them to be quarantined and put on the reserve COVID-19 list. So, we'll have to just monitor it. I think, from what I'm reading here, Lee Smith, Nate Becker, Todd Sweeney, I think they're all on the practice squad, or at least Sweeney and Becker were. So I really don't know what they're going to do. It looks like Buffalo is down to just Tyler Kroft and Reggie Gilliam. Tyler Kroft is pretty decent tight end, but Reggie Gilliam is a rookie, so we'll have to see what's really going to be able to happen for them. The passing game in Buffalo has kind of been on the rocks these last few weeks. Josh Allen hasn't looked too good. Somebody referred to him as the new GOAT. I'm not going to call that person out, but he's definitely not looking like it. That's the Bills. Apparently, nobody cares about them, according to Chris. But hoping the best for those 4 players. Hopefully, they're able to overcome that. Next,
I mean, I wish. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to stop you, but I wish them the best too. It just I feel bad for them because they got to play for the Bills, and nobody cares about the Bills.
Yeah, they're always they're like the third team in quote unquote New York, and the New York teams just can't get out of their own way a lot of the time. Buffalo is definitely doing a lot better than the other two, but the Jets and the Giants are dumpster fires. We'll get to them later.
Yeah.
Next on the list, Tua Tagovailoa has taken over the starting role in Miami over a very, I'm not going to say disgruntled, but an emotional Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I can't say that I don't blame Ryan Fitzpatrick for feeling the way he was. I mean, he's gotten the Dolphins to 3-3 in the season where I don't think anybody expected them to. And the crazy part about it is they're in the division race. I think they're only 1 game back from the divisional lead. So you can't not feel bad for the guy. I know I certainly do. I think that Miami always had a plan, regardless of how well they were doing. I think they planned on going into the bye week and making the switch, but I think that nobody saw 3-3. And, here we are. Ryan has been benched. He hasn't had a bad season. I think he's got something like 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But we all know the highs and lows that have been well documented with Ryan Fitzpatrick. 1 minute he's playing very well. The next minute he looks like he shouldn't be in the NFL. So maybe they made the right call. Maybe they made it at the right time. But I still feel bad for him. Losing your job in the NFL, I'm sure, is never an easy thing. That you have to train. You really have to prepare the guy who's taking your job. And for anybody out there who's ever had to do that, they know how that feels. So, I don't know how you feel about this, Chris, but I legitimately feel bad for him because I feel like he deserved to at least maybe finish the season out.
I agree with you. Even though they're Miami Dolphins, and I don't care either. But Fitzmagic, I was a big fan. He was doing good for the Dolphins, 3-3, and just to do him like that was wrong.
Yeah, I just see here, and I think to myself, what that does to you mentally. Because he's an older guy. For all intents and purposes, he came back this season because he loves to compete. And he started on a number of teams. Him and probably Josh McCown are, two of the best journeyman quarterbacks that have been around in the NFL. So I feel for him. But when you take a quarterback 5th overall in the draft, you make him your face of the franchise. So I understand what Miami's doing by turning the reins over. It's just unfortunate. But Tua, man, you look at the whole scope of the NFL and some of the rookie starters that have come in this season that are doing well, i.e. Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. And I'm sure as Tua is thinking to himself, I could do that. Because had Tua not gotten hurt, he might have been the number 1 pick. So I'm sure he's ready to go. And, he had 2 passes, I believe, in the last game. But that's not big enough of a sample size to really get a grasp on how well he's going to function in the NFL. I think he has the tools. He might come out looking like Kyler Murray for all we know. But we'll just have to sit and wait out. I'm very excited about Tua, though. I was this close, bro, to benching Carson Wentz on Madden and trading for Tua. I was this close, just based upon the speed factor. But we have Jalen Hurts on the roster too, so I don't know.
I never heard you say no stupid shit like that before.
I was this close.
Man, that's shocking.
I don't know. Okay, so tell me this right now. If you had to choose between Tua and Cam, I'm sure obviously you're taking Cam, but who are you taking?
I know I'll still take Cam. Only thing is, Tallulah, it's just, I know he's a rookie, he's younger, but I'm big on the veteran, and I don't have time to rebuild. I need to win now. So I'm going with Cam.
I definitely. You're going to take the former MVP every time. I think everybody would. But it would be nice to have Tua on the roster. But make some predictions. That's where we're heading with this. So we got about 8-9 weeks left. How many touchdowns? How many yards? And he get benched.
I say about 2,500 yards and maybe 14 touchdowns.
Okay, that is not out of the question. 2,500. That's about half a season's worth of yards to a very good quarterback. 14 touchdowns is definitely doable. That would be on pace for something like, 2 touchdowns a game, something like that. Definitely possible. You think he finishes with a high amount of rushing touchdowns?
Yeah, I think he might run the ball like he get more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns.
Interesting little nugget. I believe Carson Wentz is the league leader in rushing touchdowns at the quarterback position right now. I think he has 5. Very, very uncharacteristic of Carson Wentz. But my prediction for Tua, again, 8-9 games left. I'm going to go 2,000 200 yards, 16 touchdowns. I definitely think that, and that's 16 through the air, and I'll go 4 on the ground. I think he's definitely, if he stays healthy and stays on the field, I think that is definitely within the realm of possibility for him. So, we'll just have to see. I'm really rooting for him. I was, as much as I hate Alabama, I'm really hoping that he ends up being a good NFL quarterback because I think he deserves it. Like I said, if he hadn't gotten hurt, I think he might have been the number 1 pick, pushing Joe down to 2nd and maybe even Chase Young down to 3rd. So we'll see how that pans out. I've talked a lot of sports, so now we got to segue over to one of my favorite segments. Not to say it with your chest. That's just a segment where we, something's happened during the week and we need to vent about it. So, this is the space that we do it in. Chris, anything happened this week that got on your nerves?
Honestly, nothing personally got on my nerves. But I don't know if a lot of people, guys, take this COVID thing seriously because they're starting to shut down some states again. There's already been 5 states, last time I checked, that's been shut down. People not wearing their masks. Wear your mask, guys. Things are starting to get back open. You can go to the bar, restaurants, movie theaters. Don't, lose your privilege. Just wear your mask. I know it sucks. It's hot. Trust me. I work in it. I have to use it. But hey, it gives us freedom again. So that's one thing that makes me mad.
Yeah, definitely can relate there. I don't really know how it's been in Ohio recently, but I can tell you here every now and then the people's stupidity will start showing very clearly in regards to mask wearing and things like that. It's just like, dude, wear your mask, sanitize yourself, and don't put yourself in a situation that could be compromising to not only you, but your family and friends. So be smart. Don't make us have another shutdown because that definitely could happen. Me this week, man, I had a pretty good week. I'll say that. But something that continually gets at me is the fact that, we're in this, man, this whole COVID thing. We've never quite had a shutdown like this. We've never quite had a pandemic like this. And granted, there have been pandemics, in human history that we've gotten past. We haven't had one in our lifetimes that's been this major. And man, it's changed the world so much. It's changed life so much. And it's just made things a lot different. We're forced most of the time to, be cooped up in the house. And Lord knows we all need our space. We all need time to do things that we want to do. And that just, COVID makes that a little bit more difficult, a lot more difficult, honestly. You can't really go out and operate in life like you used to. This whole mask wearing thing, while annoying, it's definitely the right thing to do. So I'm going to continue to do it. But I'm tired of it, man. I don't know how much longer we're going to have to do this. I would hope that they get a vaccine or something figured out by next year, but hell, man, I mean, I'm not confident. I don't know. So we'll have to really, really, really hope and pray that they figure this shit out soon because I'm tired of it. It's really getting to me. I feel like I'm getting cabin fever, even though I'm leaving the house almost every day. But you know what I mean.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so that is say it with your chest. Everybody needs a place to vent. And this is where we choose to do it at Buckeyes in Maryland. Time to do something a little bit more upbeat, and that is NFL predictions for the week. And so in the past, Chris and I have kind of gone through and, gone to an in-depth analysis. No, we're going to change that up a little bit. We're just going to do some quick picks. So what do I mean by that? We're just going to give our prediction simply for the team that we think is going to win. So, Philadelphia and New York have already played. I'm not going to talk about that game, although I should. I'm not going to talk about it because it pissed me off.
I want to know why now.
All right, we can talk about it. So, Philadelphia should not have won this game. I'm sure you can agree with me when I say that. New York practically gave this game away. And if I'm them, I'm not even mad if I lose because, well, if I'm the Giants, I'm not pissed if I lose because that just means I'm a step closer to getting the number one pick.
Yeah.
And getting a really good player in this draft. Whether that be Danny Dimes' replacement or somebody else. But I wouldn't be pissed if I was New York because they're just another step closer to being a top 3 team to pick in this upcoming draft. But Philadelphia should not have won this game. As always, we got a game from Carson that is a complete encapsulation of who he is as a quarterback at this point. He can make some stellar passes. He can make plays, dude. When he's in the zone, he can make any throw in the NFL. But there's also these really, really stupid plays that show their ugly head, rear their ugly head midway through a game. And I don't know how much of the game you watched, but, man, there was just this one pass where he was backed up way, way, way out of the pocket. And, he does his thing. He can scramble. But you never want to, as a quarterback, throw the ball across your body, especially in the NFL. You'll lose your job. It's that automatic. And I think Troy Aikman on the broadcast even mentioned this. He pretty much told up-and-coming quarterbacks that is a good way to not finish the game as the quarterback. But the point is, Carson is an enigma. You just never know which Carson's going to show. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. So they should have not have won this game. Danny Dimes, or should I say Danny Stumbles, has become a meme, and he'll probably never happen to him down. But the Giants did everything to lose this game they could possible. I mean, Evan Ingram, who I had recently in fantasy, I let go of, could have won this game for them, but he could not make a routine catch. Chris could have made that catch.
And you know it.
Somebody could have made that. I didn't play receiver in football. I played on the defensive line, and I played tight end, but I could have made that catch. Anybody could have made that catch, but Evan Ingram, for some reason, let it go right through his hands. So apparently they didn't want to win. So they let Philadelphia have it. And week in and week out, I'm like becoming unhinged watching this division play because it's like, man, who the hell really wants to win the NFC East? Does anybody want to win? And let me not forget to mention the fact that Philadelphia does have some bright spots. Travis Fulgham, ladies and gentlemen, is looking like a diamond in the rough. He looks like a number one receiver. So that's one bright spot. Greg Ward looks like an excellent slot receiver of the future. But let's talk about the ugly again. Deshaun Jackson, man. I feel so terrible for him. He cannot stay healthy. He just came back. And I don't know if you saw, but he suffered a fractured ankle in his first game back. This guy just has some bad luck. And I think the timetable is 6 to 8 weeks. Let's just say he's out for the season. And, there is a possibility if Philadelphia makes the playoffs that he could come back. But again, the guy has played, I think, 3, maybe 4 games this season. And he's just always a threat to get hurt. And I think at this point in time, God bless him, but I think it's time to move on. I think when you can get out from under his contract, you trade him. And I honestly think you trade Alshon Jeffrey too, because I think he has an $18 million cap hit next season. Guy who just doesn't play. You got to get rid of those 2 contracts and just start over. And in one of these episodes, I believe we talked about how many different wide receivers Philadelphia has passed up in these recent drafts. But at some point, you got to hit. And I think that starts with trading away some of these older, aging veterans to get some draft capital to get a good receiver. But, man, those are just my thoughts on the game. I'm glad Philadelphia won. You know, we got a W. We're technically in the lead in the division, if only by half a game. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow between, you know, Dallas and Washington. But right now, we're in first place. So I mean, I have nothing else to say about that. It's just I'm frustrated. I'm a frustrated Eagles fan, and we have been to the playoffs these last 3 years, and I don't know if I want to make that 4. We'll just have to find out, but that's that. The first game that we're going to go ahead and pick is, if it doesn't get canceled or moved, is Buffalo and New York, the Jets. Who's winning?
Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm going to go Buffalo too. No way that the Jets win, even though they got Darnold come back. Next game after that, Cleveland versus Cincinnati.
Cleveland.
Yeah. Cincy, I love Joe Burrow. I think he's he's going to have a very good and productive career in Cincinnati. But they're years away from contention in the division. Cleveland wins this. Green Bay and Houston.
I'm going with Houston. I'm not giving up on Deshaun Watson.
Bro, you gonna go ahead and you gonna pick against Rodgers like that?
Duh. You see what Rodgers did to me in fantasy last week? I'm going Houston, baby. Let's go.
All right. Chris likes them to pick up their second win of the season. I'm gonna go ahead and go Green Bay. I think they move up to 5-1. A very important divisional game in the NFC East. Dallas and Washington.
This is a tough one. I'm not trying to take up too much time, but I have to explain this. Dallas offense is really good. Their defense is trash. Washington defense is pretty good, but their offense ain't that good. They're actually trash. So it's like an even battle. But I'm going with the Cowboys.
Yeah. I hate the Cowboys. I don't know how many times I got to say that. I hate them. But they're going to win this game. They have superior offense. Their defense, like you said, is trash. One of the worst defenses in NFL history. But their offense has enough to get them through. I don't know what that first game was with Andy Dalton. I don't know if that's like the full Andy Dalton experience. Yeah, but he's got weapons now, so he has no excuse. If he wants to remain in the NFL, if he wants to parlay this into a starting job elsewhere, he's going to have to start using them. Zeke was probably the biggest reason why they lost last week's game. He can't be fumbling the way he has, but I think they turn it around. I think they get on the right track against a pretty bad Washington team. So I'm going to take Dallas. Next game on the list is Detroit versus Atlanta.
Oh, my God. Listen, last week I almost cried. Where the hell did the choke artists want to put up 40 points?
They were tired, man. They're tired. They heard us call them choke artists. They're tired of it. They're like, man, shut Chris up. Win a game.
So, but I mean, if that's true, they did shut me up. They shut me up so much, I'm taking that. I'm taking the choke artists this week.
Oh, what? I thought we made a pact that we weren't going to pick them anymore.
I don't know, man. Julio Jones looking like a beast out there.
All right. Okay, I see. Yeah, I'll go ahead and go with Atlanta in this game. Maybe it's the firing of Dan Quinn. Maybe it's Julio. I don't know, but they look like they're playing with some passion again. So I'll go ahead and pick them against a not too good Detroit team. Another big game: Carolina versus New Orleans.
Man, that's easy. Drew Brees, baby, all the way.
I'm not so sure, man. I know we've talked about Teddy Bridgewater being kind of just a feel-good story, but I'm starting to believe that he might be their franchise quarterback. He got them at 3-3 right now, and New Orleans. I don't know if they're going to be missing Michael Thomas, but I'm going to go ahead and take Carolina in this one. I really liked the way they played, even without Christian McCaffrey. I don't think anybody picked him to win, be at 500 at this point. Pittsburgh, Tennessee, a battle of undefeateds.
Listen, I wish both of them could lose, but it's impossible. Tennessee has, Henry. That's their offense. I don't care what nobody says. And then Pittsburgh's offense is good, and Titans defense is pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie to nobody. They're decent. Pittsburgh's defense is pretty damn good. So I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Well, man, Ben Roethlisberger has completely made me eat my words. I'm not gonna. I just maybe I'm just too much of a man to admit that I'm wrong on this one. But I'm just gonna go ahead and pick Tennessee. I think Derrick Henry stiff armed somebody else into oblivion this week. I don't know who that's going to be. Is it going to be Joe Hayden? Is he going to snatch Joe Hayden's soul? I don't know. But hard to pick against him. I really think that Ryan Tannehill is a top 10 quarterback right now. I know Chris says that they're all running with Derrick Henry, and that is their offense. But I don't know. Ryan definitely looks like a top 10 quarterback. He's validating his contract. So that, ladies and gentlemen, I will be picking Tennessee.
All I'm saying is watch out for TJ Watt, baby. He's going to hit Ryan Tannehill and Henry in the mouth.
Man, you're crazy.
You see.
All right. Tampa Bay and Las Vegas.
Go Raiders, baby. Let's go. Raider Nation.
I just think you're pissed at Tom Brady.
You damn right I am. Don't I'm not gonna sugarcoat nobody. You're not about to stay with me 20 years, go to 9 Super Bowls, win 6, and just brush it off.
He cheated, man. He left. He cheated. He cheated with Tampa Bay. He left.
Well, I hope the Raiders bust his head open.
I'm going with Tampa Bay in this one. If AB plays, well, obviously he's not going to play. I don't know why I said that, but I still think they have enough firepower to win. I'm going to take Tampa Bay. Next game on the list. This may or may not be America's game of the week. Your New England Patriots versus the San Francisco 49ers.
Listen, I'm going with my Patriots. Even though we lost to Denver, I'm going to talk about that later in the segment. But I'm going with the Patriots. I got to have faith.
Yeah, I like New England in this. I think that Cam Newton has a bounce-back game after laying a dud last week. Very disappointed in Cam. Let's just say that last week's game. I just don't think that San Fran has enough to win this game. Big game, Kansas City versus a surprisingly mediocre Denver team, who I think is getting Block back. So, I mean, that might make a difference for him. But who are you taking in that one?
I'm going Kansas City. Even though Denver beat us, they're not about to run through Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with KC too. And I'm not sure if Bell has been activated. That could make a huge difference. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had an outstanding game last time out. I think he rushed for over 160 yards. But we'll have to see what Andy Reid decides to do in regards to splitting carries in the backfield. But I'm taking Kansas City too. Next game on the list. Jacksonville versus the Los Angeles Chargers.
Listen, sorry, Jacksonville sucks this year. I thought they'll be a lot better. Too. So I'm going with Chargers. That rookie quarterback is a beast.
Yeah, Justin Herbert looks like the real deal. I think at the start of the season, I was very hopeful that Gardner Minshew would kind of shut up a lot of the doubters and the haters. You know, because no secret that a lot of people in Jacksonville really, really want Trevor Lawrence. And that could definitely be a possibility if they continue to lose games. Gardner Minshew might find himself out of a job. So I'm going to go ahead and go the Chargers in this one. I think Herbert lights them up for 4 touchdowns. Next game, Sunday night football, Seattle versus Arizona. That should be a really good game.
Let me tell you this real quick because they're undefeated, so I'm not rooting for them. Go Arizona, baby.
Kyler having a big game?
Yeah. I think Kyler Murray's going to have a breakout game against Seattle.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Kyler Murray's a fantasy, god right now. He's been killing it. Seattle should not be undefeated right now. They should have lost, believe, to Dallas. They should not. They should not have won those games. The Patriots definitely should have beat them. So they should really be sitting here at 3-2 instead of 5-0. But I'm gonna go ahead and take Arizona in this game. The last game we have on the list should be a pretty good one. Monday Night Football, Chicago versus the Rams.
So basically, Khalil Mack versus Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being honest, this is not about the quarterbacks. This is a good old defensive game.
I'm taking the Rams. They're gonna come back, and they got hit in the mouth last week, so they're gonna come back and win.
Yeah, I think both of these two teams are going to be in the playoffs. Chicago, I'm really hoping that Nick Foles finishes the year as the starter, but they might flip-flop back to Mitch Trubisky if they're receiving subpar play from Foles. We'll have to see. I'm going to take Chicago in this one. I think that their defense combines with consistent but not overly great play from Nick Foles gets them the dub. So that's our NFL picks for this week. I haven't, honestly, dude, man, I've been slacking here. I need to tally up some of these picks. The last time I checked, I was in the lead by like 1 game, but that was almost 2 weeks ago. So I need to start checking to see where we're at with this.
Okay.
I think we're going to go ahead and close out today with my favorite segment that we do here on Buckeyes and Man, and that is MVPB.
Paper bitch.
Most valuable paper bitch. So, who comes to mind for you this week, man?
Listen, I'm going to need the New England Patriots to come on down.
Come on down to the Price is Right.
It's not like that because I'm ready to slap the shit out of all of them. Starting with Julius Edelman. Starting with him. He's being lazy. He's not being the same person he used to be. What's going on, man? Listen. I love Julius. All right. I'm kind of ready to trade his ass. So we need to win now. We need to have Cam, and I want to sign Cam to a long-term contract. But if he's playing this garbage, I don't know what I'm gonna put in. I want to draft a quarterback. Let's try to get the first round pick.
Man.
And let's
You got high hopes. Julius Edelman ain't going for no number 1 pick.
Hey, you gotta believe, right? I can only just pray.
Pick with somebody to get him off your hands at that point.
But still, how the hell do we lose to the Denver? They didn't even score no touchdowns. We lost to 6 field goals. Oh my God! It's pitiful. You lost to Denver. Don't even got Von Miller to scare Cam Newton. It does nothing. Fumbles. Not catching the ball. Can't get no runs. No blocks. Defense. They don't even have my defense are getting killed. They don't really have nobody receivers. They had no receivers in Denver, and we get killed.
Dude, I don't even know what is going on with New England because it's like, which team? It's like the Carson Wentz effect, man. It's like, which New England team is going to show up? Is it going to be Jekyll? Is it going to be Hyde? Is this just about Cam Newton establishing a rhythm? Or is this just about, frankly, is this, what it's going to be like for the Patriots now that they don't have Tom Brady? Who knows? But that is Chris's MVP. So you're saying, is it Julian Edelman or is it the Patriots?
It's just the Patriots. It's that I just had to target, Jules because he's not being the same slot, receiver, catching everything, taking big hits. He's just like, if you watch him, he's like, oh, hell no, I'm not taking a hit today. I don't want to catch the ball today.
Okay, question. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes. He has a lot of, he has won a lot of games for us. He has stats to prove it. I think he's like right behind Jerry Rice for the most catches in playoffs, playoff games. So that's some Hall of Fame stats right there to me. And to be that small, not drafted high, coming out from Kent State as a quarterback, and then they'd be like, you're not playing quarterback in the NFL, you're gonna play receiver. And he didn't even play that. He had to be on special teams first.
Yeah, the question with Julian Edelman when it comes time is not going to be whether or not he was productive. It's going to be about which production actually matters, because he is statistically not had when you look at Hall of Famers at the wide receiver position, in the regular season, he's not had an above average career. But in the postseason, as Chris alluded to, he is historic. So we'll have to see what Hall of Fame voters choose to really put into perspective when that time comes. But honestly, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. But that's why I'm not voting, because I don't know as much as they do. But my MVP for this week, man, you know what I'm going to say. It's Daniel Jones, Mr. Danny Stumbles himself. As I already said on this episode, the Giants did everything they could to lose the game. They just gave it to Philly. They said, here, I don't want this shit. Just take it. I want to lose. But Danny Stumbles, man, how do you have the top speed in any quarterback run this season, beating out Lamar Jackson and not finishing a touchdown? What the hell is that? I mean, had that been Carson Wentz or Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray or hell, Russell Wilson, all of those guys would have scored. I think he was 8 yards out from the touchdown. And don't make no mistake, they scored on that drive. But that is a low light of low lights. That is something he'll probably never live down. And I'm pouring more fuel on the fire because it's a divisional opponent. Nothing against the kid, because I think that by all intents and purposes, I think Daniel Jones is a pretty good person. He's a pretty good kid, but you got to finish that run, man. Dude, I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know if it's you're looking behind you and you're just too open. And I don't know about you. I don't know if you saw that live, bro, but as soon as he took off, I knew he wasn't going to finish for a touchdown. I knew something was going to happen. I knew he was going to stumble.
I saw it different. He hit the little option. You know what I mean? Got your whole defense, and I thought he was gone. And then he fall. And I had replay it. Did you trip on something? There was something there.
He tripped over himself.
But then if you look at it, his running formation, he was listen, in track, they teach us, you start low and you get high with your chest and take off. He was hunched the whole time he was running. If you look at it, he was hunched. So he probably got nervous. He's like, oh my God, I'm about to score. And he was all hunched and he tripped and fall. You fell. You stupid. Say it with your chest.
Look, man, Danny is probably, like I said, he's never going to live that down. I'm sure people 20, 30 years from now are going to be talking about that when they remember his career. But he should have finished that in a touchdown. It was excellently executed. Very good. If you watch the tape, he really got Brandon Graham on that fake out. And he got the whole defense. I can't lie. He got me too. I was like, man, what the hell? But he runs faster than he looks. I think he's 6'5". He's pretty big. 6'5", 240, something like that. He's up there with Carson in terms of size. And he's a little bit faster than people give him credit for, but that's just something you got to finish with the touchdown. So Danny Jones, Danny fumbles, Danny stumbles, come down, accept your award. MVPB.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be the end of our episode today. Thanks for tuning in, whether it be on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, whatever platform you're on. Thank you for listening. Tune in next week. And you guys have a good day.